Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So it is October, which is my favourite month of the year, and it also means get ready for spooky, scary stuff that's going to make you uncomfortable, and lots of orange and red. So today I thought I'd kickstart my channel talking about the top 5 things that scared the sleep out of me when I was a child. So number 5 on this list is Lion and the Bear from Teletubbies. If that couldn't be more embarrassing, I don't know what can. So number 4 on my list is kind of sad. I was just like, kind of disappointed in younger self. Apparently it was the apes from the Planet of the Apes video. I don't know which particular one made me scared, I'm not sure which one. But the story goes, obviously I was too young to know, once again, like number 5, I was too young to kind of know the full story, but apparently my 2 older brothers were watching Planet of the Apes, the original one, Tim Burton, Helen Bonham Carter, that magical pairing, and apparently they were watching that, and I just happened to be in the room, and then later on that eve or that night when I was asleep or whatever, apparently I kind of woke up, I was crying, I was kind of scared of something, and my mum was like, what is it, what's wrong, what's going on, what's up? And I came out with, naughty monkey speaking. She was like, she's had some weird nutty dream about the apes. So number 3 on my list, what were my fingers doing? Number 3 on my list is from the Doctor Who series. I can't remember which actor played the Doctor at this particular point. It was, I think, just before David Tennant took over as the Doctor. David Tennant was my favourite personally, but it was the one just before. I'll put somewhere on the screen of who it is, I'll find out who it is. But there was a episode where they went to World War II, the World War II timeline, which is one of my favourite time periods, along with the Victorian era and my favourite, the Egyptian era. So they went there, and that was cool because I liked that as a child, I liked that timeline. But my god, the child in this particular episode, maybe it's why I don't like children now, maybe it scarred me for life. This child had a gas mask on. A lot of them did actually in that episode, but this particular child had a gas mask on, and the whole episode it literally just went around saying, "Are you my mummy? Mummy, let me in." It'd be like tapping on doors, putting its hand through like letterboxes, turning stuff on in the house. It was terrifying. So number 2 on this list is the bad giants, most specifically the flesh lump eater from the old BFG film. I'm not talking about the 2016 video or movie or whatever. I'm talking about, I think it was 1989, 87, something like that, just before the 90s. And the giants in this film terrified me. Absolutely, especially the flesh lump eater. You kind of might know if you're sort of into that 90s culture. I know when I used to talk about, usually when I had, when you had a fear as a kid, you used to come to school and you used to be like, I watched this last night and I couldn't sleep for the entire night. And people used to be like, oh yeah, I know, it's really scary, I've seen that. But with the BFG, I sort of mentioned it and people didn't really know what I was talking about. They didn't really know. I mean, they'd read the book, obviously. You had kind of books you had to read in class, and it was a good book. In the books, they do come with like illustrations, like the Quentin Blake illustrations, which are really cool. They give you this sort of idea. Now, in the books, they're sort of these hairy, kind of cavemen, kind of silly looking, but still, you know that they're not as nice as the BFG, the Big Friendly Giant. But in the 1989 version, all of that caveman bit, no, straight out the window. We're bringing something scary in. We're frightening the crap out of these kids. And it did. And there was one scene in particular I would try and avoid watching, but because it was on video, I kind of wasn't great at the fast forward, rewind, oh, no, I've lost my place. One time I think I broke the kind of video thing, so I tried not to fast forward and rewind too much, but yeah, I tried to avoid watching the scene, and it was the scene, I think it's like halfway through the film or something, the flesh lump eater, this particular giant, the BFG and little girl Sophie have gone out, they're sharing dreams. If you don't know the BFG, that's what he does. He's a giant. He makes dreams and he kind of gives them to children, really nice dreams, and he catches the bad ones and, brings them home, stores them, whatever. He's kind of like Santa, but all year round. So they're in this town. It's a really pretty, like, lakeside, seaside town thing, and the music changes, and the music in this movie, for a kids' movie, this is a really good movie. It's scary, it's got atmosphere, it's got beautiful animation, beautiful films, beautiful colour, and a good cast. Why aren't kids' films like that today? So in this scene, the music changes, and you see this giant, his head just comes out the water till it's like here, and usually that's kind of funny, when you see like a hippo and it's like whoop, and you can just see the head and its ears, you're like, that's kind of comical, that's kind of cute. No, I don't know how they did it, but just this kind of, the rest was covered, and you were like, oh, okay, and it just sort of rose out of the water. And the camera stayed where it was, because as it came out of the water, you saw a close-up of this long fingernail, and you hadn't seen it before. And at first you're kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool, kind of gnarly, it was just part of the design. That's what you kind of think when you first see it. Until later on in this scene, we see that there is a use for this really long, he's just got one really long nail, the rest are like normal size. And the use of this nail is to poke it through open bedroom windows of children, and to grab them, to like hook them from their beds, to eat them and leave the bones in the bedroom. It just terrified the wits out of me as a child, and I just watched it kind of later on as kind of older, I watched it like last year, I think, but it was a kind of 3 years later or maybe more, maybe 5 years later, kind of as I was older, things didn't scare me, or different things scared me. My God, The Woman in Black, let's not talk about that right now. The different things scared me, and I watched it, I was like, I realise now why this is so scary, and it's because the giants never, apart from the bones obviously, they never left behind any sign that they had been wherever they had been. So going to context, it's like it was on the paper in the film, it was in the newspaper that bones had been found outside windows and window ledges and all this stuff, and no one knew what it was. And there was, as you watched the film, the old film, these giants walked around human civilization, societies, and just left no evidence that they had been here. And that freaked me out as a kid, because like, no damaged buildings. I mean, why can't the Avengers do this, man? Take tips from these giants, man. These giants could do like, make a lot of money from like training days or something. But as a child, I was like, these giants could exist. I think was what scared me as a kid, that they could be out there, but because we can't see them, we didn't think they were. And it just, God, scarred me. So number 1 on this list that I think a lot of people can relate to, it haunts children and adults alike, is the Jaws film. The original Jaws film, I think it's by Spielberg. It is an amazing film, don't get me wrong, but I just don't watch it anymore because I know what will happen afterwards. The first time I watched this film, I was okay with it, I was like, yeah. I went around my day, that wasn't when it scared me. I watched it like 2 months afterwards. I think I was on like summer holiday, summer, break or whatever. I had you know, you have loads of time to kill. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna stick this weird shark looking thing on. I think I'd forgotten about it. Put it on, watched it. No sleep for me that night, or the night after, or the night after, or the night after. It carried on. It snowballed. And so much so that when we went on holiday to, like, you know, seaside places, we'd always visit the same, you know, seaside place. I wouldn't go in the water. No, not going in the water, not even if there was someone with me. And my mum would always be like, oh, you used to love the water. We used to never be able to get you out of the water. We used to lose you on the beach because you would just run out into the water. And that just stopped this film. This, like, you never really saw the shark. And when you saw the shark, you were like, no, well, that was disappointing. I think it was that sense of not being able to see what you were so terrified of, but you knew what it was. It was a really weird feeling. And now, even if I'm, you know, scrolling through whatever, Instagram, shark picture comes up, I'm just like, I mean, the one thing that people always say is like, oh, well, you know, sharks aren't malicious. They attack us because they think we're seals or whatever. They think we're other creature. I mean, how blind are sharks? I mean, do I look like a seal? Seriously? Come on. You know, they attack us because they think we're their food source and they don't like the taste of us. Rogue sharks? Yeah, you guys heard of those nightmares? Rogue sharks are basically sharks that have acquired the taste of human flesh. That exists. Rogue sharks. Look that up. That's terrifying. Actually, don't look that up. That was like my scapegoat. Okay, if a shark attacks me, it's not gonna continue attacking me because they don't like the taste of human flesh. Nope. You can get rogue ones now. Sorry. So guys, I hope you enjoyed my first video. Hopefully I'm going to be posting regularly on this channel. I sort of just wanted to kickstart it today with something a little spooky, something kind of Halloween orientated themed. I hope you enjoyed my first video. If you did, give it a thumbs up below. Hit the magic red button that everybody talks about, the subscribe button. Tell me below, what were your fears as a child? Fears as a child. Let's talk about shark giants with gas masks. I've just created my new current fear. Thanks a lot, brain. Spread the therapy, spread the fear. Ooh, I sound like Scarecrow now. Spread the fear.